And hi, everyone. Welcome to our investor seminar, Rental Income Properties 101. My name is Vinnie, and my co-host over here,
I'm
David Wright.
And I'm blessed to be here on a beautiful Saturday in San Diego, where the weather is going to be extraordinary hot today, just like the real estate market. Kind of interesting day.
Yeah, so if you've been watching us on our market updates, we do it every Monday and Friday at 4 o'clock. This is our investor seminar. We do a buyer seminar, and we have plans to do a VA seminar in the near future. So feel free to join us on that. So people ask, all right, now, what's the idea behind getting an investment property? Are you looking for steady income each month? Are you looking to plan for your retirement? I mean, there's a lot of clientele that I have that have bought properties, use that income over time to kind of retire off of. Are you looking for appreciation and value? Are you looking to create lasting wealth? Are you looking to diversify your assets? Are you looking to invest and kind of build your wealth over time?
A lot of different things come into it, especially now when you look at it with the current pandemic and you watch the stock market, the volatility. Diversification is key because you don't want everything locked up in just one single asset.
Exactly. So monthly cash flow. All right. So rental properties create cash flow. Rental properties have the ability to increase cash flow by rent increases. Average San Diego rent, $18,000 to $2,750. Now, average yearly San Diego rent increases, 4.1, 2.7 in bad times. Rent's constantly going up. I mean, that's one of the norms, even in a down market. Future appreciation, San Diego average appreciation is 5.55. Now, something to really think about. This is the one thing that it's tough in this current climate right now. We're probably close to the top of the market, to be really honest, and we are to the bottom of the market. Yet, if you're looking to hold your property over the long haul, you'll probably be higher up. Unless you think the U.S. economy is going to fail, which I don't know how many people are thinking that. So it's a pendulum. It goes up, it goes down. So even if it goes down, as long as basically with factoring in the low interest rate now, low monthly payments, as long as you're cash flow positive in the downturn, you're going to still sit pretty. In bad times like now, it's estimated to lose 0.8% in value. This is hard to see through San Diego, a massive. Yeah, I mean, talking about the massive housing shortage, if you watch our market updates, we're sitting at about 3,900 properties in San Diego County. And that's only factoring in single family, townhome, row homes, twin homes, and properties like that. To give kind of a reference point, last June, we were sitting about 7,800. If you watch our market update from yesterday, you'll kind of see the ebbs and flows of the market. Even in the low times, we're sitting right now with a massive shortage of inventory.
And one of the other big things that you look at now more than ever with this pandemic, with all the taxes being passed, are with all these different, programs going through, helping people out, helping businesses, keeping people up. It makes you wonder, in the future, are taxes going to go up? Probably so. And what do rental properties do? Great tax write-offs. So it's an interesting time right now. Like Vinnie was mentioning, there's only half the amount of inventory, but yet the economy is like 50% shut down, and we haven't yet seen the devastation of the economics. And so I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say your taxes are going to probably increase, and tax write-offs on rental properties. Rental properties tax deductible. Improvements on the rental properties can be written off, unlike improvements on your house. You can redo your whole bathroom on a rental property and write it all off. You cannot on your owner-occupied house you live in. You can also write off all the insurance, all the mortgage interest, all the maintenance, everything. Rental properties are a great way to save your money on taxes, and you can also depreciate your rental property, which is a huge money saver for the first 10 years.
So how do you get started?
How do you get started, Vinnie? Tell us.
Well, you can pull the money out of your current home. I mean, there's been clients. I mean, there's a client that we're currently working with right now that I mean, he assessed all his properties and realized that his interest rate that he's paying currently on all his properties can be brought down. Yeah, can be brought down in this current climate. We're talking about, 2%, in some cases, 2.5, 2.7. For investors, for investor properties, you're talking about in the threes, right? So rates are crazy low. Investment property rates right now are what people would get excited about on their single family primary resident properties just a couple months back.
Vinny, you couldn't have said it better than a top sportscast announcer on ESPN. I mean, you may want to apply for that new job, but it's definitely like you're looking at 3.5, 3.6 on investor properties. And I recently had a couple clients lock in at 3.25. They paid a little bit of money to buy the rate down. Now, those were not cash out refinances on non-owner occupied. Those are very expensive. And if you listen to our market update on Friday, you would have learned that the mortgage industry got hit on top of the head with massive increases in costs for cash out refinances. So, when you talk to your local lender, make sure that they inform you about that, because that was a big change.
And if you're joining us and you have any questions, feel free to comment, feel free to reach out. Love to answer questions. So other avenues: pull money from your investment accounts or bank savings to purchase. IRA.
That's a good one. That's for your savvy people.
Pull money with other investors to leverage. Now, it doesn't matter who you're investing with, if it's a family, a friend, whoever it might be aware when money gets involved, crazy things happen. So make sure you have everything in writing. Make sure you have an understanding of the process. Make sure what value each person is going to bring to the situation. But yes, be careful when money is involved. Things get crazy.
And then Heloc. So Heloc's right now, and we didn't mention this on Friday, Vinny, but I forgot to mention to everybody, is I'm now doing Helocs on jumbo purchases, which is kind of interesting and kind of dangerous, because a Heloc is a great thing if you use it correctly. And for a lot of people out there who already refinanced and already have a good rate, hopefully they're at 3%, 2.75, just ridiculous. You can pull Helocs now. Helocs are more expensive and they're not fixed, but they're very cheap to get. And it is an interesting way to pool money very quickly to buy an investment. If you happen to be working with, your agent finds you a great deal, you weren't prepared, and you go, oh my golly Wally, how can I quickly get cash instantly? Heloc, really fast.
Yeah. That could be an avenue if, let's say, your rate is already really low, or you're maybe halfway through the amortization and you don't want to actually restart the amortization, but you still want to take advantage of the situation that's currently going on right now, then yes, a HELOC can be great. I mean, talk to whoever you plan to work with. I mean, if you're going to be working with a real estate agent, if you're going to be working with a lender, whoever you're going to work with, you're going to pay them for your services. I mean, if you're on the buy side, you're not paying the realtor. You're basically the seller's going to pay the realtor, so no cost to you. If you're paying the lender, you're going to be paying. So if you're planning to buy in maybe 6 months, and 2 months, and 3 months, and a year from now, get that person in your back pocket now and ask questions how you can get yourself set up for success in the future.
And I just got to mention, did you see how he said cash is king right there? I just had to go through my sexual harassment training, discrimination training.
Yeah.
And I learned we're no longer allowed to say that.
No, what do we have to say now?
We have to make it gender neutral, because apparently a lot of lawsuits. So full disclosure, cash is also queen and king, both. We Vinnie don't discriminate, and we're following California protocol.
Fair enough. Now, guys, so San Diego home prices sit about $679. Again, we're probably close to the top of the market to the bottom of the market. Focus on basically that monthly payment. Focus on if it's going to be upgrades you're going to do the property. Focus on the things you can do to allow you to weather the storm if the values go down in the future. Again, it doesn't matter what the value is unless you're looking to refinance it or sell it.
And, for those of you out there who have wondered what's gone on the last 10 years, over 10 years, it's been a steady bull market. So if you historically look at things, will we get a pullback? Yes, we should. But with only 50% of inventory on the market and rates the lowest in history, it's a very interesting time right now. And it is like Vinnie mentioned, buy with the payment in mind and buy long-term hold, because these interest rates you're going to see, you buying now and holding on to this investment is an absolute win-win.
So what's the most important to you about the best property? Is it monthly cash flow? Do you want the highest monthly cash flow? Do you want the ability to be able to increase your rent yearly? Are you just getting in with your first property and later planning on cash flow because of rent increases? Now, something to really jump into. Let's say you have land on your property, ADUs, right? Quote unquote granny flats. The county has made it a lot easier. In San Diego County, it made it a lot easier to actually build those properties. So let's say you want to take money out of your property. You don't want to really sell your property, but you want a little more cash flow. That could be another avenue to really think about. The first step you can do is talk to your realtor, talk to your lender. And if you trust them and they're going to basically give you the best advice possible, then no harm, no foul. Just reach out and just see what's possible first. Is it yearly appreciation that you want? Do you want to buy an area that has the greatest yearly appreciation? Now, it's always hard to gauge what's happened over the last 3 months, 6 months, 5 months, and hoping that's going to happen over the next 5, 6, 7 years, whatever. So just be aware, values are going to go up, they're going to go down. Currently, we're still probably fairly consistent, fairly steady over the last probably year or so. But just something to kind of really think about with that. Also, too, maybe you're looking to buy an area. This is where David loves to chime in. Areas that are being gentrified.
Oh, no. Man, that big word. You're always using that complex word. Please elaborate.
So communities are being gentrified, and basically maybe there's some dilapidated homes that need homes that need to get renovated and cleaned up. So what happens is you start seeing one house get bought by an investor, fixed up, resold at a higher price. Slowly you start seeing more of those properties get upgraded, and you start seeing the values in that community start going upwards. So that can help as things are changing, as the market's correcting. So just things to think about when you're talking about appreciation. Or buy an area with lower appreciation because of price, or buy because of an appreciation down the road for financing improvements. Another avenue to really think about, and this is something that I tell a lot of my clients, is let's say you want to buy like a condo, yet it's in the first 9 years of being built. As a lot of you know, currently, right, you have 10 years for the developer to get sued for any kind of issues with the property. So maybe you look at the idea, okay, well, this complex is 10 years old or 9 years old, and it's currently in a lawsuit. But after that lawsuit is done, right, because most of these complexes are going to get some kind of lawsuit. Well, you buy it now, wait it out till year 11, year 12, when everything is kind of cleaned up. And now the complex can get VA approved, FHA approved, can go conventional financing. And now it's going to open up to a bigger buyer pool. So things to kind of think about, to get creative when you're looking to purchase and kind of focusing on possible appreciation.
Now, this next one, safety of your investment. So me and Vinnie, we talk a lot about payments, being comfortable. The future is not, guaranteed. So when you look at the safety of the investment, these are things you want to look at. You can look at, how can I protect my money and make this safer? Because you are investing, which means there is a possible risk of loss, especially if you choose unwisely. So things to think about for safety. Where's the location of the property? Would you want to live there? Do you like the location? What's the advantages of the location of that property? You can also look at the stability of your rents that come through. Are you renting to people who are super stable, Are you renting to highly volatile people to make more money monthly? So you have to really look at it and go, sometimes you're going to rent your property to somebody for a little less because it's a very stable renter. We'll use military, for example, because they can get BAH, very stable. The rent always comes in, and you don't have to worry about them trashing your property because of the military status. And so you may give them a better deal on the rents. The other thing is you may rent it month to month for more money, but then it's not as stable. The other thing, long-term, short-term, 6-month versus 12-month leases. Those are different too. A good tenant in your house that fixes it up, never calls you, and does everything for you, give them a discount. You want to treat your renters really well. It's super important. Treat people like people. And then finally, your tenants, once again, college kids, business people, family. As I learned yesterday in my harassment and discrimination training, we're technically not supposed to be looking at things like this, but in the real world, people are going to look at who's living in their rental and go, who's going to take better care of the property and who decreases your stress level, because you have to stress about the house. If you put a bad renter in there and they're trashing it month to month, that's a lot of stress. So really look at the safety, the location, the renters, how easy it is to get to the property, leave the property. Some of the same things we talked about in our buying seminar.
Now, as you're kind of figuring out these kind of goals that you're thinking about the different kind of properties and things like that, you're going to want to think, okay, well, do I want a single family? Do I want a duplex? Do I want a triplex? Do you want a condo? And these are all things to kind of factor in. I mean, the easy way to kind of like look at it is the lower the price point of the property, right? The bigger the buyer, bigger the renter pool you're going to have, right? So if you're looking at 3 to 4 unit and these are all, let's say, the same value, same pricing, you're probably going to have the 3 to 4 unit in a less desirable area, yet the price point is going to be more affordable for a majority of renters out there, right? So you can kind of pick and choose the renters. Maybe if you're talking about $1 million home, single family home, you're probably gonna have less of a renter pool, right? Because it's gonna probably be more of a desirable area, and so a higher pricing, right? So just things to kind of factor in, things to put together in your game plan with your lender and your realtor.
And the other thing, 1 unit property, 1 source of income, 2 units, 2 sources, 3 to 4 units, 3 to 4 sources. So the more units you have, quote unquote, doors, the more sources of income you have coming in, which also decreases stress. And we're all about decreasing stress because nobody wants more stress in their life.
Yeah, it becomes a balancing act, a lot of stuff, because you have more tenants, right? You have more streams of income. You have less tenants, right? So less streams of income. Now, if let's say you're charging the peak amount of value you can get out of that rental property, right? They're probably not going to be consistent tenants for 5-10 years. So, word to the wise, if you're going to rent a property out, maybe you price it a little bit under what you can get for fair market value on the property. So you get a tenant that wants to stay there and you don't have to have a property vacant for a period of time.
And don't be a slumlord. Everyone knows a slumlord. Everyone knows someone or has a friend or has experienced someone that goes, oh, my landlord, he won't even change a light bulb. He hasn't fixed the mold underneath the sink in 6 years. Don't be that guy.
Yeah.
Our gal.
There we go.
We don't discriminate here. There could be something coming up. Make sure we passed. Oh, there it is. See?
So going back on it, yes, if you're just joining us right now, cash flow is queen or king. It could be one or the other. It's just a powerful thing.
Ooh, this one right here. Is there a wrong property to start with? Of course there is. There's a lot of wrong things you could do And you have to look at it and go, what's most important to you? Remember your goals. Remember your financial situation. Can you afford to even lose a renter? If you lose a renter for 2 to 3 months, can you cover that mortgage payment? Do you have reserves for when things go wrong? Because guess what? Things will go wrong. And then here's my word, bootstrap. You have yours, Vinnie. Mine's a little bit more simple. I'm more of a simple guy. So bootstrap. Can you bootstrap? Means can you work on the property yourself? Do you have the tools? They cost money. Do you have the time to work on it yourself? And do you have patience to work with people? People take patience. And then look at all the other things: cash flow, tax advantages, mortgage reduction, appreciation, equity capture. Those are the reasons why you're doing all this. So you don't want to start out with the wrong property and put yourself underwater day one.
Yeah, I mean, going over these items right here, let's say you're handy yourself, or you have a handyman, or maybe you have a home warranty on the property. I mean, things to really factor in, because you have the tenant has issues. Who's getting the call? You're getting the call. Unless you have property management. Property management companies usually are going to take probably 7 to 8% on the first one. And then on the second and all the other months, probably about maybe 6%, somewhere around there. So it's really going to vary. So you got things you have to think about when you're looking to find the property for you. Now let's look at some ways to prevent you from choosing the wrong property. Know your neighborhoods. Now, what's the average income? What's the average rent paid? So there's a couple different platforms you want to look at if you're trying to get an idea of the community. Look at Rental Meter. Okay. It gives you kind of a rough idea of what rents are in that community. Another one is greatschools.org. It'll give you kind of like what the schools are ranked in that community. And then crimespot.org. CrimeSpot will show you any kind of violence, anything that happens in the community, any kind of crime that happens in the community. So it gives you kind of a good reference point of what's going on in the community. Now, thing I tell anyone, put your location in that platform first before you look at it for that neighborhood, just so you have kind of a reference point, right? I've had clients where they've looked on crimespot.org and they go, oh my gosh, this place is horrible. And they look at the place that they're currently living in and they go, all right, well, I guess it's not so bad. So just things
that was pretty bad, Vinnie. That place is terrible. And they look at it, they're like, wow, my neighborhood's worse.
Yeah. So, and then what's the rate of appreciation? I mean, again, we can gauge off what's happening in the community and talk to your realtor. I mean, they can pull up numbers and give you kind of a rough idea of what this kind of similar property was selling for a couple years back, just so you kind of have a reference point of how much it's gone up in the last couple of years. Yet you have to also understand the market has been going up over the last, let's say, 12 years ago, 10, 11 years like that. Yeah. So things to really think about when you're looking to purchase. Focus on that. I mean, I definitely suggest focus on the monthly payment.
Know the property. This is other things. When you start looking at this, know the property. Know the age of the property. Know what deferred maintenance is. Do you know what deferred maintenance is? Do you know what a roof costs? Do you know what piping costs? Do you know what electrical panels cost to upgrade them? Was the work done on this house permitted versus non? A good realtor is going to be able to look at different things like this, read prelims, look it over and tell you, hey, that extra bedroom that's for some reason on the house, it's not supposed to be there. It's non-permitted. You have to also look at accessibility on properties. What do I mean by that? I mean, parking. Is the place easy to get to, easy to get out of, and easy to park your car? Some of you here in San Diego, you may have been in North Park, may have been in South Park. It's a genderfied neighborhood now. Would that be correct, Vinnie? Did I put that in there correctly?
Yes. Well played.
I'm just trying to, use big words. And look at that. There's no parking there. So if you're a renter and every day you come home, you just worked hard all day long, you come home, you can't park your car, that's frustrating. Think about the parking. And then the average cost per square foot. A good realtor is going to break this all down for you. And then how do you improve the property to bring in more rent? The idea here that you're buying is, yes, you want cash flow. Yes, you want appreciation. And yes, you want safety. But like the little weight, I guess you could put it as weight scale, it's hard to get everything perfect. So you want to really think about, what is the more important thing to you? And if it is more cash flow, how do you bring that to the property? Can you improve it with solar? Can you improve it with energy efficient? Can you have zero scaping? How do you bring more money in? Do you have, unfortunately, coin operated laundry, which sounds terrible, but I've seen places that have coin operated laundry stuff at the houses for the renter, which isn't crazy to me, but it's just different ways to bring in more money.
Yeah, understand the property. Going back into kind of what Dave was talking about, I mean, usually for older homes, you're going to have maybe piping. Piping is something that we don't see or on a daily basis, right? Yet, if the property has cast iron piping, is that piping corroded? Do you need to basically get scoped on the property? Is the wiring? I mean, some of the older properties might not have GFCI, might not have grounding wire in the property. So things to really think about. Okay, why do they have only 2 prongs and not have, the 3 prongs? I mean, is it because it's not grounded? The house is not grounded. Okay, can you deal with that? I mean, just things to really factor in with the property and to talk to your trusted realtor to understand what you're getting yourself into with each property.
There you go. That's scale. It's a balancing act to get everything right,
Yeah, and again, if right now we're going to go through some kind of, I think numbers, right? Now we're going to, Lord. No,
not yet. We're not the numbers yet. We're almost to the.
If you guys have any questions, though, feel free to comment. Feel free to reach out, direct message us, give us a call. David and myself would love to answer questions specifically to you too. All right, so non-owner properties and mortgages. Duplex will have a higher rate for loans, single family. When you buy an investor down payment, it's usually 25%, unless you buy as a vacation property, which that's going to vary. What is it? It's usually about 100 miles, 60 miles, David?
I can get away with 50 miles.
50 miles, okay. So as long as it's 50 miles per residence.
For some of you out there who are more savvy, so think about it this way. If you currently live in Escondido, example, and you want to buy a condo right by the ballpark, that technically could be considered. We may go for a second home because it's a condo by the ballpark with a view, and it's totally different than the ranch house you live in Escondido, as an example. So we may be able to get away with a second home on that. You can get more savvy on certain situations.
And also, too, maybe you're looking to buy a property as your primary residence, right? And then rent out the other units. So you get 4 units, live in one, rent out the other ones. So things to kind of really think about when you're looking to purchase. Again, it's all about putting together a game plan to know where you want to get to. And then more equity in property means lower rates. CPA. Okay, so this is something, I mean, I'm not a CPA, and I know David's not a CPA. Yeah, he does love numbers. So get a great CPA. Okay, great CPAs will help you maximize the tax benefits. CPAs can help when you want to do an exchange, like a 1031 exchange to save money. Now, a 1031 exchange, if you're not familiar with that, it's basically selling one investment property to buy another investment property for similar or more higher costs. And then you roll over any kind of capital gains you get into the new property. Things to kind of save some money right there if you're looking to grow your portfolio. You can also compile multiple properties, sell them, and then buy something at a higher value on all of them too. Great CPAs can help you avoid recapture taxes.
Huge. A lot of them don't know that.
Yeah, you'll be surprised. I mean, sometimes there's items that your trusted resource might not know. It doesn't mean they're not trying to give you the best advantage possible. It just means they don't have the best tools or the best understanding of how to take advantage of the situation you're currently in. Then make friends with an honest contractor. you can, maybe you're handy yourself, yet if maybe you're not handy, you're gonna need some help. Have a honest contractor to help you out. I mean, I know I'm not a car person. I'm not a car person at all. And so if I ever have an issue, I'm always
Go to a
like,
mechanic.
I'm crossing my fingers, hoping that I got a good mechanic for that item right there. So yeah. Here we go. So formulas to help with the ROI. There you go, David.
Here we go. Let's jump into this. These are amazing. So you're spending your money. You want to know, what are you getting a rate of return on? How do you measure this? So we do 3 simple formulas here. Cash on cash returns. This is how you're going to look at what are you getting the return on your money. So we look at this. You look at annual cash flow divided by the initial cash investment equals your cash on cash returns. So for example, you bought a rental at $700,000. You put down 25%. That's $175K. Annual cash flow from rents is $3,500 per month times 12 equals $42,000. Just take the $42,000, divide it by the $175K you put down. Boom! 24% return on your money. Is that amazing, Vinnie, or what?
I mean, David likes to shoot for the stars, and you know, I think we all want to shoot for the stars.
I want that property right there. If you find me that one, Vinnie, we're buying today.
Oh man! All right, so net operating income. All right, so we got 42,000 income, 12,000 expenses. Okay, so you got 30,000 operating income. Use this now to see how you can pay the mortgage. So 30,000 over 12 months, 2,500 to you. Now 2,500. How much is your mortgage? That'll kind of give you an idea of net operating income.
That one is super important because, as Vinnie has mentioned numerous times, payment. What can you afford? Net operating income is crucial, because if you look at net operating income and you cannot cover the mortgage and you lose a renter for a month or two, you are screwed. That's a super duper important formula. The next one, everybody wants to know about payback. They want to know, when am I getting paid back? You know, what's my payback period? So look at it this way: initial cash investment. So ours, 175K divided by annual cash flow, 42,000, 4.17 years. That's when you get all your money back out of that investment, and that's not taking into account the other gains that you make as far as tax write-offs, as far as possible equity appreciation. And it's like me and Vinnie have been saying, we've been in an unusual market the last 10 to 12 years, straight bull market. Should we get a pullback? In theory, historically, yes. But with 50% less inventory than usual, lowest interest rates in history, and an election year, kind of a couple wild cards all operating at the same time.
All right, what else should you do to protect yourself? Learn California renter laws.
Ooh.
If you've lived in California for a good amount of time, be aware renters have some strong laws. I have some stories you can talk about if you ever have any questions. Only hire a qualified realtor to help you and your lender. We go into a little more depth about basically dissecting your lender and your realtor beforehand in our first-time homebuyer seminars. If you have any questions, I mean, just make sure you Google that person to make sure that they're who they say they are. Okay. Property managers, do you need one? Learn the cost. We've already kind of talked about that. Usually probably sitting about, probably around 6% on a monthly. And then plan on things going wrong, because they're probably going to go wrong. And then great insurance, is it better than cheap insurance? Something to really think about. Sometimes you can get it both. Talk to your insurance agent, figure out what's covered, get yourself protected. So if something goes wrong, you're taken care of.
It's we mentioned the other thing about great CPA, great contractor. Unfortunately, great things don't come cheap. So if you're trying to go super cheap on everything, you're going to get a cheap CPA will have cheap knowledge and advice. A realtor that gives away everything they have and only closes a few transactions a year, you're going to get cheap decisions and cheap, not good investments.
Well,
And
if you followed our market update yesterday,
oh my gosh, amazing.
Your mind in the last 12 months, if your realtor has closed one deal, they're basically in the top 20% of all realtors in San Diego County.
I don't even, that is such an impactful thing to just go, if you do something one time, you're in the top 20%.
So something
you know, what's interesting, Vinny, is I did 2 brain surgeries lately. So I don't know about brain surgeons, but maybe that puts me in the top 20% of brain surgeons.
It's possible. I mean, I wouldn't hold it against you.
I definitely would not want to be the person letting me operate on their brain.
All right, so
full disclosure.
Cash is king and queen. You'll need to operate and ensure you can sleep at night. Buy rental units, live in one for a while as you can fix it up.
That's a good one right there. For those of you who are thinking about how do I get into 2 birds at one stone, buy a house and a rental, buy a duplex. You can get away with 3.5% down with FHA, rent out one side of the duplex, live in the other, build it up long term, you know, over, let's say 2 to 3 years, move out. You have a great investment.
Yeah.
Always look for ways to increase rent. Look for ways to increase value. It's just like, I'm going to go out on a limb here, Vinny. At work, you should be looking for ways to increase value at all times, because the more value you create, the better things are around you. And that's the same thing with your rental. Creating value for your renter makes them happy, which in turn makes your life easier, which in turn makes your life better.
Always look for ways to decrease costs. So is it maybe a drip system instead of a sprinkler system? Is it solar panels? And things to really kind of think about, to assess, to make the cost a little more affordable. And never take advantage of the tenants. I mean,
never.
We believe in the idea of karma, so just be very careful. Now that you have the basics, go look at properties. So what do? Hire a great agent and a great lender. Not hire a great agent and a lender. Hire them both. If you can. Know the areas. Look at the rents. Look at the improvements. Use the formulas that we put out here. Know your goals.
Boom.
For the future.
Is that house going to make you money? Is the house made of money? Are you making money? Oh my gosh. I just got 3 in there. That's pretty bad. Boom.
That's definitely dad jokes. All right. So here's our information. Mine and David's information. As you can see here, also have a podcast all about overcoming adversity. So if you need kind of a pick me up to hear about other people's struggles and know that you're not alone, feel free to follow. It's on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Castbox, Road to Growth, Success of an Entrepreneur. Also, you can find it on my website, Enriquezgroup.com. So
you're never alone when you have a good home loan.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, we had to end on that note, my friends, but I couldn't resist that one.
Feel free to follow us, subscribe to whatever platform you're watching us. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this on Facebook, if you're watching this on Periscope, Twitter, whatever it might be, feel free to follow, subscribe. And every Monday and Friday, we're going to give you a market update. And usually once a weekend, we're going to give you some kind of seminar. Any last words, David?
Eat healthy, sleep, be stress-free, hug a loved one, take time to help someone else out, help them up, because this is life. Life is short, and try and make things better. That's all I got for you.
Bye, guys.